What's up, everybody? So, as you can see by this photograph, this is a popper update. I'm going to be going through a lot of information that I've had, a lot of still shots, and just some interesting things. As you guys know, I was on the Smart Scarecrow show, and I tried to blow up a Christmas cup, Grandma's Christmas cup, and it didn't really work. And I would like to go through all of the pictures that I have been taking, lots of different things, and I'm just going to try to run through it. So I'm using some different software for this. I'm going to be actually recording from my PC, so if you guys like this kind of thing, let me know and I will attempt to do more of it. It's a little bit more time consuming, but definitely makes the presentation a lot more fun. Anyway, let's get started. Here's some footage from the Smart Scarecrow show.
Recording right now. You'll be able to do that on my YouTube channel.
Standing outside. Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! What happened? Oh. Well, that's good. All right. Alrighty, so here you're going to see the aftermath in slow motion. Now, this footage was recorded in 60 frames per second, so each one of these frames is actually 1/60th of a second. So let's go. There'll be more of these pictures. I got a lot of different stuff to show you, so these are just the beginning phases, but here it is. So this, what you see right here, is the rolling of the frame of the camera. You'll see that in all of the shots, so don't be fooled. It's not like some traveling wave plasma captured or something like that. It's just the frame rate of the camera. So there's the initial blast. Now here's the interesting part. That's frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's about 9 frames. So 1/10 of a second where this cup is glowing green. That is pretty wild. We know that the ionization will kind of die off and it will last for a short period of time, but to physically see it like that is just interesting. Now, the thing that I figured out here, and like I said, there'll be more later, we'll go to the next batch. Alright, so here's the first fire, and the second frame, third frame, fourth frame. Now that right there, that's the 5th frame, but look what happens. I'll keep going. 6th frame, again, that's just the camera frame rate. Alright, and there you go. So going back to the beginning of that, and that looks pretty blurry, doesn't it? Alright, so here's what happened on this one. This is what gets interesting, and I've got a bunch more photos to show you about this, so I won't spend too much time here. But the firing right there, I actually hit the button twice right there. So this is just the aftermath, and the cup is pre-ionized, okay, which is what we need to actually start doing, is pre-ionizing. And the next phase is, boom, a little bit of a capacitor discharge there, and then it fades off. So you don't really get the green glow afterwards. Okay, it's not quite the same. So basically what that's telling me is the pre-ionization is actually allowing for this system to fire again. So if we were firing this like an engine, it would actually be extremely helpful. So I'll explain more of that here in a little bit. But here is the next. This is another one. And then there's the second flash. Okay. Now what's interesting is that the second flash only works if I fire it while it's still got some pre-ionization. If I try to fire it again later, it doesn't do that. Now again, this is with capacitors not charging. This is just with them charging one time and then firing it. So frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there is the second discharge. 8, 9, 10. Alright, so I will show you more of that later, but that's the Christmas Cup Smart Scarecrow Show adventure. So let's move on to the next phase. Right, so during the Smart Scarecrow Show, you guys noticed that the, Aftermath, I told you guys that the cup didn't explode. Well, the cup was actually leaking. And it's very, very interesting. So it's something I'm going to try to show you guys here, but it's very hard to hear. I'm going to try to bring the audio up so you can actually hear it. But right in this area right here, there was a leak. And whenever I fired this thing, it would actually hiss for about a second and a half or so. Very unique, so I'm going to try to show you that right now. Leaking cup. I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm going to talk. So I'm going to fire it, then I'll tell you how long it hisses. There. Just stopped. Alrighty then. So, as you can tell, that it is leaking. Very interesting. It was very hard to hear, but it was actually leaking for quite a while. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is the same thing, except something very unique happens. And when this fires, it fires really quick. There's an abrupt pressure release, and then it takes forever. I don't know if it was going back in or coming out. I guess it's going back in, but I couldn't tell. But anyway, check out these photographs, and then we'll talk about them. So there's frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now here's the interesting part. Frame 1. You see this right here? That's on the outside of the cup. We'll go to frame 2. It's still going through the air. And then frame 3, it's gone. But the reason that is unique or interesting is because I'm 99% sure that actually got through this leak. Alright, it escaped through the leak and got out. That's not something that came from somewhere else, because I just know it's not. So very, very weird. Basically, I'll show you later that some of the particles do come off the electrodes, and so that's actually a part of the electrode. It actually escaped through the cup that fast and dissipated, so kind of weird.
Alrighty. This is approximately 800 milliliter glass jar. Upside down. I'm going to do this in air a couple of times and see what the reaction is, and then I'll fill it up with helium. So I'm going to turn just that light on. This might break. I guess I should, well, it'll be alright, as long as it's focused. So this is just the high voltage. Whoa. Alright, so let's go ahead and charge it up. 350 volts, and see what happens.
Alright, so I should note here real quickly that when I use air, the electrodes break down a lot.
Volts.
So please keep that in mind when you see pieces flying everywhere.
Okay. Now I'm going to fill it up with helium, and we'll see what our result is.
Alright guys, so I'm finding it that this video is getting pretty long already, so I'm going to try to rush through these photographs. I'm not really going to show you a whole lot of the regular footage. I'm just going to go through these still shots because it's really the most important thing. So let's get started. As you can see in this photograph, this is just one of the flashes of the capacitor discharge in that tall glass vase type of jar. So here's what I've done. You can see here I've got air at atmosphere, helium at negative 10, not really psi, but inches of mercury, and then helium at negative 20.5 inches of mercury, and then helium at a positive pressure, and then that's it. So each one of these is a burst. We are just going to go through each one, and I'm going to do it as fast as I can. So here we go. Second frame, third frame, fourth, fifth, sixth, and back at the beginning. So again, this is air at 1 atmosphere, or at atmosphere, I should say. So this is the second shot. Same type of thing is happening. Alright, so we'll go to the next one. I'm going to cut all this stuff out. Alright, so here's the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now we are going to do... It's kind of slow with the recording. Let's start at helium negative 20.5. And again, the frames are sliced. So here's the first frame, second frame. Now there's a really nice green glow. I did pull a vacuum, but there's probably still oxygen in there. Second frame, third frame, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Oh, back to the beginning. So there's fire 1. And this is number 2. So there's first frame, second frame, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 9. So between 9 and 10 frames. Go ahead and get rid of some of these. I like how this opens up new windows, but it's kind of a pain in the butt sometimes. So we'll go ahead and do the third one. Alright, this is the third fire. First frame, second frame, third frame, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th, 8th, 9, 10. So it's always about 10 frames. You can see that glow, how long it takes to dissipate the ionization. Alright. So now we're going to do helium at negative 10. Alright, this is helium at negative 10. So there's the first frame, second frame, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8, 9, 10. Alright, so we'll go ahead and do the second blast. Alright, so this is the second blast at negative 10 with helium, and here's the interesting thing. This blast did something totally different. The electrodes bursted, basically. A fraction came off and was glowing in the cup. So this is first frame, second frame, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright? So it's very unique in the fact that you don't see the green glow, instead you see the basically the shrapnel glowing red hot, or white hot as it looks, and then quickly dying off. Okay? So that's kind of a unique thing. Now we're going to move on to helium at 5 psi. So here's the one-shot photographs, firing it one single time, and this is what it looks like. Very similar to the rest of the stuff we've been seeing. Okay, not much difference at all. By the way, these pictures are all over at the forums. Here is with the light on, just to give you a better idea of what's going on. You can see that nice green haze going on in there. Alright, let me see if I can find some unique, because that's kind of generic. We've seen all this already, so let me see if I can find some of the odd ones where weird things were going on. Here's a side shot trying to get the camera to not roll. Basically, I wanted to try to get the flash all at once. And you can see the top of the jar. There's a particle in there, a hot one. You can see the shadows. Usually you can actually see down here, you'll see some light. There, you see the ball dropping down in there. You can see the glowing right over here on the side. So let's watch that again. Frame 1, 2, 3. There's a hot piece in there. 4, 5, falling down. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there you can see it at the bottom. 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 frames. So that's kind of a unique one where the piece of the electrode actually goes flying, and that's because I'm using such high current. Here's another one. This is similar. One. There's, see, the green glow. See, I don't have the hot particles, and I get this green glow. So the hot particles definitely throw the system for a curveball. So I gotta make sure I do not blow up my electrodes, basically. So that was one shot. Now I'll go ahead and show you a one shot looking through a lens on a welding helmet, basically. So there's first frame, second frame, third frame, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, starting over. So it's kind of what it looks like if you'd like to see it through a lens. And again, that's just the frame rate. So let's go to the second one. Ba 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 ba. Here you can see there's looking like a little more green. That's again looking through a lens. Alright, enough of that. Now here is going to get kind of interesting. This is where it gets interesting. So here I do the fire and hold. I did a bunch of these because they're all unique. Every one of them is different. So we'll just go through them one at a time. Alright, so again, like I said earlier in this video, a fire and hold. So I'm firing it once, I'm holding the button. You can see holding the button, holding the button, holding the button, and boom! There's the second capacitor discharge. And then the color quickly fades out afterwards. Very unique. And this means that the pre-ionization is allowing what's left of the capacitor discharge to actually able to fire the gas a second time with lower amount of input voltage. See, my capacitors drop down to about 100 volts from 350 to 100, and then when I fire it a second time, if I let the system sit, I fire it once and then I come back and try to fire it again, it doesn't do anything. But when I do it rapidly, like this, okay, this is, you're talking, you know, what, 6, that's frame 5, I think, and you can see, again, that's just the camera. Looks kind of cool. Looks like a traveling plasma ball, but it's not. It's just the camera frame rate. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frames later, it fires again. Alright, that's very unique. That means the pre-ionization is doing something. Let's go to the next one. There's a bunch of random weird stuff going on, and I'm just going to go through them all here so you can see them all. It's going to be a long video. But, see, that one was real short. So it fired once. Okay, that's the first fire. Frame 1, 2, 3. The third frame it fired again. Instead of waiting for 4 or 5 frames, it fired on the third frame. And then that green glow doesn't really last near as long when that happens. It's very interesting. So again, when I get shrapnel flying, and this, no, maybe not this one. This isn't any shrapnel. Alright, so frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There, 7th frame it fired. So random. So random. So let's go to the next one. There's one in here that's really interesting. We'll see if we can find it. This one looks like it had some hot particles. I call them hot particles. It's just the electrode breaking away. You can see how light it is right there. And you can see the orange glow. There's actually particles of the electrodes. Boop! There's that second flash. And again, it looks like a traveling plasma ball, but it's just the frames. So frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 frames later, it's still fired. Alright. Which is interesting. Okay. Sorry about the long video, but you guys want details. I'll give them to you, but you're going to have to wait. Alright, so here, frame 1, I think this is the interesting one. 2, yes. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, back to 1. Now check this out. Frame 1, frame 2. You see these very interesting swirly looking type things? Those are the pieces of the electrodes. So frame 2, you can see they're either bouncing off the glass or something. It almost, if I go back and forward, it almost looks like they're like rotating around like the plasma field, almost as if it's magnetic. But I don't know if that's accurate. It might just be the angle I'm sitting at. So that's definitely an interesting one. Somewhere in here I've got some top shots, which are very interesting. Hopefully we'll get to them. Here we go. So here's shots from the top. Alright, let's go frame by frame. So there's frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and back to 1. Alright, so this actually flashed twice in the third frame again. So there's 1, 2, and then 3. It fires again. That's the second fire, because this is a fire and a hold. Alright, and then there you can see the high voltage, but no plasma because the capacitors have been discharged twice. So off to the last one. I think this is the most interesting one of all. The hot particles. Check this out. Alright, so this is frame 1. I'm just going to run through them, then we'll go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Back to the, okay, 23 frames. Alright, so looking at that again, you can see the flash and then the piece of shrapnel frame by frame here. A guy by the name of Axel over at the forums has mentioned using a heating element as a pre-ionization, and that is something that I will be trying to basically get free electrons off of the heating element actually like a filament and just get it just barely red, and allowing this pre-ionization, because check that second flash out. Here's what's weird about this whole thing. Let's go back to the beginning. Alright, so frame by frame here, the hot. Okay, if you look really close, and it is hard to see, there's an arc across there right now. Now there's not. And then I believe right there is. And right there is. And right there is. And right there. Maybe not them last ones, but you can see it definitely right there. You can see a defined arc. See it? So that's just the high voltage. And then look, the high voltage fires again, and nothing happens. And then, boom. Somehow the capacitors discharge after the third arc, which is very weird. So it's very unpredictable, but you can see that it definitely does happen. Now, like I said before, this does not happen unless the only time that this happens is whenever you do it right after you fire it, and I mean within, milliseconds. Tenth of a second. Anything past that, like you can see in these frames, at 60 frames per second, doesn't really do anything. And so pre-ionization is going to be a big help here. So let's move on to the next thing. I don't know what's up next. Some random footage. We'll find out.
Today is the 12th of October.
Alright guys, so back to the beginning. This video was already way too long, so I'm going to be just making another update. This has been update number... yeah. What number has it been? 14! Today's actually the 26th of October. I recorded most of this on the 11th and 12th, so it's been a while. And that's it. So God bless you guys. I hope you like the presentation. Set it up a little different this way. Hopefully it works out, and if it does, I'll be purchasing this software. In case you're curious, it is Cortel Video Studio Pro. So hopefully it will export this. Alright, peace and love to you all. God bless, and let me know what you guys think. Comments are always welcome, although it is time consuming for me to get back with you, so if I do not get back with you, please don't think I didn't appreciate it, because I do. Alright, see you at the next update. Hopefully I can get it out right away. You'll like it.